Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non-native speakers. My name is Jendrik.
My name is Masha.
And we are two English teachers who
try and fight algorithms.
That's brave, with only two English teachers fighting
Yes.
algorithms, these algos that are
I didn't say AI.
Omnipresent. You didn't say AI, but it's almost equivalent,
The one who must not be named.
How can we do it? I mean, how can we
keep
win?
plowing through, like you always say. Get used to speaking to the void and do whatever you feel you have to do, no matter what. Whatever you feel you must do, no matter what.
Yeah. I feel sometimes like this podcast is the last bastion of the old internet, where, this amateurish, sorry to say that, but, this amateurish, I want to say, hobby-like, non-commercial, and I don't know what else,
Enthusiastic.
It feels great. Yeah, enthusiastic, exactly, So the internet is not like this anymore, right?
It is not. Yes.
Yeah. A great episode, by the way, of your favorite podcast. I think I'm going to link it. Yeah, to link it in our Spotify website, because there is a room for recommended podcasts. And it's Ezra Klein. It's called Ezra Klein's Show, right?
The Ezra Klein Show.
Yeah. Great podcast, by the way. I just listened to the first episode ever, the one you sent me.
There's a lot about politics and about what's going on in the US right now, but still very often there is an author of a book like this person who was on the show. He's also written a book.
Great. Yeah, I don't like politics, especially American politics. I mean, or any politics.
Okay, I have to pin this for later if we get to my question. Okay, yeah. So.
Okay, good. Fine.
So we are plowing through no matter what. Even if you don't leave us any voicemails, don't sign up for our newsletter, we will.
But it is our goal this year, to have these interactions. So we are hoping that the old internet is going to wake up. Don't. I know that it's not easy to find us. Not easy to. If you are already listening to our show, you are in this, a tiny minority of people who know how to find stuff, how to surf the internet. Where's this surfing? I mean, remember something like that, Masha? Surfing the internet. It's like dropping a keyword or something, and it would take you, I don't know where. Right now, it's Facebook, it's social media, Twitter, and others, TikToks, and basically you are in that sort of a bobsleigh,
Well, I'm not, because I'm not. I don't use social media. I'm still doing it the old way. I go to Google. I Google, and 1 hour later, I forgot what I was looking for, because I, came across something. Wow.
All right, but even Google, with the ads and so on, it's not like, I remember.
I have ad blocker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I remember. Have you ever typed like random email? Sorry, not email, but random website address? Like, for example, I know I opened the dictionary and I've got something like crutch here. Sorry, it's a random word.
Crutch.com?
Yeah, crutch.com.
Why would I do that?
.biz or something. I mean, sometimes it could lead to some fascinating discoveries, I know that.
No, I don't have so much time, I'm looking for something.
Yeah, exactly.
If I need a crutch, I will probably type crutch.
But who knows? Who knows what is actually crutch.com? I think I'm going to check it out right now.
Okay, please do.
You guess what could that be? You guess what could that be? Crutch or crutches? Oh, crutch. No, you know what? It's
Well, I
actually a
don't want to
domain
go
for
for the
sale.
obvious. It would be something.
It's a domain for sale, you know. Yeah, it's a domain for sale. You can buy it if you want.
I immediately think
probably...
of not the crutch, you know, the literal meaning, but in any language you have these crutch words which you use when you know, stalling for time or something like that.
What is it in English?
Crutch words.
Yeah. No, but an example of a crutch word.
Like.
Like.
Oh, no, no, like it's not a crutch word. It's a...
No, it's more like an
parasite
insertion. I don't know.
But you know, it's interesting when you are an English learner. Teachers will actually have to teach you first these words because you're totally not using them, and your speech sounds a bit unnatural, and then they teach, and then you have to unlearn it later on because you're overusing them. You know, it's funny.
But I'm still wondering what is a potential crutch word.
Crutch word, okay.
Stuff.
Well, you know, when you don't know what to say, you would kind of lean on it for a couple of seconds.
I get the concept.
Something like that.
Yeah, or I was thinking about literally the word stuff that can replace, you know,
or
stuff.
this, yeah.
You know,
instead of learning all these little, you know, precise names of things, which can take eternity, you can always say stuff. You know, this little thingy.
Yeah. In French, it's a truc.
Truc. Oh, in Ukrainian we have truc.
Oh, really? It's like it means like a thing, but anything could be
like a trick. Oh, no, it's a different meaning.
No, it's not like trick.
It's a trick.
It means a thing, you know, but the thing is such a vast concept. It, you know, everything could be inside. All right. Fine. Okay. So, but anyway, crutch.com is for sale, guys. If you're interested, you can buy it. I haven't checked the price, but probably it will be something like $50,000, maybe more, because it's a short name, easy to remember. It's a legit word. Yeah. So if you open a shop with medical
on our
supplies, yeah, I think, you know, I think it has to be. But that's the, you know, this is the amateurish internet I was talking about.
This is the amateurish show where you don't know what you're talking about. So we not only did we not give up with very, very little feedback, you know, we are launching a newsletter, you know, as if we never tire.
Feeling out, you know, the room, you know, the walls, not actually seeing where we are going. Great. But it's true, we are launching a newsletter. Masha, what is your idea for this newsletter? From the top of your head, I know it's not yet carved in stone, you know.
Well, I know it's not exactly maybe your idea, but I think that what people expect from us, because we are English teachers at the end of the day, I think.
At the end of the day, yes.
You know, like inspiration, some encouragement, some little fixes or something like this in terms when it comes to learning a language, English in particular. So I would, maybe from time to time bust some myths, or maybe not bust, but because I don't have this authority, but just give our, view on something.
I was thinking, yeah, I think that, you know, a weekly dose of motivation, inspiration is absolutely necessary. I feel that
some recommendations, because people often ask what to listen to, what to read.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this sort of curation of content, even though I'm not sure, you know, if I'm actually much better at curating French language materials than English language materials. But hopefully, you know, with time, I'm going to also develop, you know, this keen eye to spot, you know, some interesting places on the internet. But I was thinking about, you know, this inspiration, motivation, and we have to be, the two of us, really careful not to overdo it. You know what I mean? Because if you keep motivating people, yeah, I mean, with inspiration, you have to be really delicate, because, you know, it's not a thing that you can instill in people, like, you know, procedurally, like, you know, you have a procedure how to inspire people. I think we have to be ourselves in the first place, you know.
Yeah. Well, you share your own experience. You can sometimes share or draw from your students' experience, and you know.
Yeah. So I would say that this newsletter, just like this show, is going to be raw.
Total chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be raw, but you are going to somehow grow with us, you know, to see, you know, this development, and which is great, I think, because once again, somebody can jump on the newsletter in that case, and somehow not feel overwhelmed, you know, because we are going to be like, I guess, ordinary people, right? Not some gods of language learning or
which
inspiration, which we are not, of course.
So we're going to be what we are, to individuals who don't really know what they're doing, but like it very much.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So once again, I cannot but recommend signing up for our newsletter. You can find you can find the link below in the description of this episode. Plus, you can go right now to tolpodcast.com, which is our website, well known for everybody, I hope. And if you scroll a bit, you'll find you know, a newsletter section, and just share your email, not just your email, nothing more. We don't need your name, your surname, your shoe size, or whatever.
Pin.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically it's just about sharing, you know, our thoughts with you weekly. Okay. With that being said, Masha, let's maybe proceed to the thinking out loud proper. It's been a long time since we actually had some thinking going on here.
And at the beginning, you always stressed it with meaningful. You set the bar very, very high, and we don't deliver.
I mean, where's the meaning, right? So, Masha, what are the rules of the game? Let's remind our listeners, also our new listeners. We used to, I think I can say that, we used to come up with specific questions, usually about the difference between two things, or some relationship, or maybe sometimes some discussing one concept. But basically, it's a pretty random set, right? And we try to, I think,
come up with something meaningful.
Come up with something meaningful, to find some connection, you know, to think out loud. In fact, this is the name of the show, sums it up perfectly.
And we come unprepared.
In the
sense
I don't know
that, I mean, we are totally prepared because we have experience or whatever
from this perspective, yes, but I don't know
we
what
don't
is your
know
question
the questions
for me, and you don't know my question for you. So in this way, you know, I think, you know, with my question, I may send you on a quest you may never return from, you know.
Thank you.
All right, so
this meaningful is always at the back of my head. You know, oh my God, I have to say something meaningful.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, you go ahead.
So I'm asking you first?
Yeah.
All right. Fine. So, ladies and gentlemen,
round
here
one.
Is
you have a jingle?
One.
No, there was only one.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Round one.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So Masha, in this, I think Ella's going to be disappointed, you know, with that jingle instead of you saying. Oh, you said it, but I think it was okay. You said it. Round one. Fine, Ella, you can rest now. Let me ask you something that has been on my mind.
But Ella is. Have you seen a TV series Colombo? very old. There is a detective.
Of course, yeah. I love Columbo.
He kind of has a wife. He always talks about his wife, but we never see his wife.
And Ella is the same.
Ella is like this.
All right. I mean, it's not entirely like this because those of you who follow my Polish YouTube channel, they know Ella because Ella is recommending books in English. I mean, she's doing it in Polish, but these are books in English. Bientôt, I wanted to say very soon. We think of recording it in English, so that would be great. But okay, yeah, but Ella's like Columbo's wife, you're absolutely right.
On our show, at least.
All right, on our show. So Ella, we are hoping that you will come here one day, and not so distant future, and you will actually dispel this, aura of Columbo's wife. Okay. Masha, I wanted to ask you something that has been in my mind for some time. It's a serious question, and except I don't know how to formulate it, but it doesn't matter, right? I mean,
yeah, of course, that's kind of show.
There are two things or two objects, even a tablet and a book. And why do you think an electronic device, a screen, is winning with books in terms of, attractiveness?
Okay, can it be because I don't use a tablet, I use an e-reader, it's called.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean,
best, the biggest.
Or a smartphone, maybe, because it's not about, it's not about this
I would say these are different experiences, reading from a smartphone, from your laptop, and from this ebook. And I know, well, at least for me.
So you, if you could share your experience, because I'm actually not using, this ebook readers, but I know I was kind of asking this in the context of young people who are absolutely more attracted to screen than smartphones or whatever you name it, than actually books. Even if these are interesting books, I mean, once you start reading and you kind of get what's the name for it? Engrossed in it.
Yeah.
So
okay, so it's not e-reader because it's a very different experience. It's like a book. You have to carry it with you. It's an extra device. It's the only thing it's good for is reading, because smartphone you can use for anything. So it's not that. We are comparing a smartphone and a paper book.
Yeah. I mean, the attractiveness, having I know some time off, what do you grab, a smartphone or a book?
Well, I definitely grab a book, it's
but you are that old school person who's not even using social media.
And I'm even just old. You can just stop there. Not school.
Old without school.
Why young people? Okay.
No, I mean,
young people.
Yeah, what makes books less attractive, or the power of books?
First of all, you have to carry it with you. Look at young people; they don't even have, bags, nothing. They just have a pocket, well, 2 pockets, and that's it. And a smartphone is always with you, always, even. I'm sorry,
no
but
matter how big the smartphone is, you always find a pocket for it.
So first of all, it's practicality. And I would even, it's not a matter of a device. I think that young people today don't read much. I mean, long texts, they don't even watch long videos. When I send my son, an hour-long interview, he's like, no way I'm going to watch this. Give me something that's no longer than 20 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, why? I don't even see this question that way, that they really read on smartphones and don't read paper books. It's not a question of why they don't read at all.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, the question is, given that, books and reading generally is so good for our brain, for everything, somehow it is losing out against this digital entertainment of whatever sort,
Yeah, so
whether
the
it's,
question is not about a book, let's say whatever book you're reading on paper and book in the same book in your phone. The question is the book versus I don't know, short texts, or whatever you can find on the internet, social media. That's the question. It's not a matter of device, of medium. Yes?
Well, kind of, yes, you're right. You're right.
Because if I'm reading Shakespeare, it doesn't matter. I may even have, like I sometimes do, a copy on I have a copy on my laptop, and I have a copy on my e-reader. And if it's like great book that I've read 500 times, I would even have it. I would even have a paper copy, and I would read, depending on how I feel, where I am. Your question is not about that. It's about what you choose: a serious long book, or not even maybe serious, or just whatever internet is throwing at you. Yes?
Yeah. I guess thanks for making it more precise. And I know there are questions of, for example, of the energy required to read a longer text versus an energy required to scroll and I don't know, and read also your Twitter feed, for example, or any kind of digital.
Yeah, but there is also, youngsters today, they are more. I mean, we're not talking about just mindlessly scrolling your feed. Not about that, but let's say I look at my son, and his content, the content he consumes, is very, very educational. And I know, I mean, he knows much more than I do now about, maybe not about life, but different facts. For example, history. I'm shocked at how bad I am at history. And it's not that I have bad memory. I mean, I can memorize all this stuff, but I have never been able to get this, big picture.
Yeah, the big picture. Yeah.
And he keeps, throwing these things at me like this, that. And I was like, okay, he also knows something. But then we were watching this again, La Grande Vadrouille, La Grande Vadrouille, which we do every year at the beginning of the year. And at the end of this film, they are, they managed to get these planes, or these are not even planes, planners, airborne, and they are trying to escape from Germany. And I'm asking him, where are they going? There's and he tells me, but France was not. And there was a moment in this film when a German officer produces, or whatever, somebody produces a map, and he says, this is your France or something. And I'm looking at this map, and I know the shape of this country, and it's definitely not this shape. And he tells me, but France was not totally occupied, not the whole country. You surely know that. And I was like, okay.
Oh, right. I knew that,
And then, so they are trying to escape, and I'm asking, where are they going? He says, yeah, that they can't be going to Spain, because there was just, he's roughly, because we don't know exactly which year this is. And he says, maybe there's just, it's been an end of a civil war there, or the fascism is kind of, so, yeah. I mean, he knows, he can see this big picture. And when I ask him, why don't you read books? And of course, I mean fiction. And he doesn't see the value in it, because these are just stories of, and these are made up stories, very often. And he asks me, what's the point? He even stopped watching films, which we it was a big thing in our family. We have some films that we have rewatched many, many times. But right now he doesn't see a value in this. He'd rather learn something interesting. by interesting, I mean practical, of course, you know, something.
I wouldn't like to switch the
true.
question in the middle, but what's the value of reading, honestly, fiction?
Oh, come on, don't kill this in
No, I mean,
because, you know, I'm trying to write fiction. And
I'm a huge fan of fiction, you know, and I think to me, honestly, fiction is better than non-fiction when it comes to, of course, reading books and so on. Because why is that?
Well, because, you know, fiction, it's not something that was totally made up. It has to be plausible. Only then it's good fiction. In order for it to be plausible, the author must have lived through something, must have understood something. And now he's telling you this. So you always, because you live in your, I don't know how many meters. I, for example, only communicate with people I teach. I have very, very little. So, I mean, my social life is virtually non-existent. So how do I make sense of this world? How do I know what's even there? I read books. Maybe, of course, it's better to go out and experience it for yourself, but that's what it is right now. And how much can you experience, you know? So you get to see different people, how they behave, the choices they make, you know. You maybe, if it hasn't been formed, then you form this moral compass or whatever you call it. So fiction is great.
So it's like fiction could honestly substitute social relations. I mean, giving you the, I mean, could you actually arrive
you have
at
to go there and
conclusions?
develop these relations. That's a different thing.
Yeah, but it may actually, despite being fiction, despite being made up, it could actually lead to a better understanding of reality,
better understanding, but not the understanding and doing it right. That these are different things. You still have to go out there and do it yourself. But understanding yourself, understanding maybe other people, why they behave like this. Very often I had this, like, you know, I read something or I watch a good film and, oh my God, well, this is why, you know, the person I know did this or that. Well, you know, that's a very primitive explanation.
I read an interesting book lately. I finished last weekend. It was Kids Run the Show by Delphine de Vigan. It's a French author, and I was honestly, I was contemplating reading this in French in the original, but ultimately I decided to go for the English translation.
So much for inspiration for your learners.
But I could do it in French. I know I could do it. You know, I could do it. It would. I could do it, but you know, yeah. But hey, come on, it's but this is inspiring for the English learners, not for the French learners. You know, we don't care about French learners here.
No, we don't.
On the show. Yeah. So sorry, but I just wanted to say that it's a book. It's a story about two women, in fact, but one of them is a mom of two children. A mom who is filming them all the time and posting YouTube videos. She has a very, very popular channel, and she's actually a millionaire, you know, like a YouTuber, a professional YouTuber, or you name it. And the point is that she's doing it, of course, against the will of her children. I mean, even though they're young, they don't understand what they are doing, you know, but somehow she's robbing them of their childhood. And there's also a story that goes beyond just, you know, an episode when, you know, her daughter was kidnapped, blah blah. But then
blah,
we
blah,
also
blah.
get
isn't it the
no, I mean it, because it wasn't like a serious kidnapping, you know, with it anyway, you know, you have to read the story, you know, but the point is that it's not although I first thought this is going to be the central part of the book, you know, like, okay, the kidnapping, you know, of her daughter and, you know, the search for her and so on, but it wasn't, you know, because then we come back to the story when the children are already adults, you know, 18 and more. Her brother is older. and they have some serious problems in life, caused by this, being filmed all the time. Being on YouTube, being recognized in a way, being also popular, and it caused a tremendous damage to them. And I think even though it's a fiction, I think it lets you reflect on a potential sweet life of a YouTuber, full-time YouTuber. It must be a horrible life, to be honest. I mean, after reading this, and I was suspecting this, I'm too old, I guess, to have this ambition, to be a famous YouTuber. But I think that recording every minute of your life, especially this parenting kind of, channels, I think it must be horrible, to make every minute of your life a material for, for a new program or a new video.
Things we do for money.
Things we do for money, yeah. But a great book, great book that reads fast and it's also informative. But it's fiction again. Your son wouldn't approve of it.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. Masha, coming back to our question, what makes the screen more attractive than I'm using some kind of a mental shortcut here. I don't know if our listeners are actually
like good life.
Yeah. Yes, but
again, they say I can only observe my teenager, but they say that teenagers today, they are not even interested in this, educational content. They are just they are very into
right?
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram and everything
TikTok,
you do for likes, for followers. And again, this many of them maybe have this idea that you don't have to work hard. You can make like your parents,
but I thought that honestly, this entertainment, the stupid stuff that is out there on the internet is actually the essence of the internet. And trying to get serious, and trying to teach someone something, and trying to run a supposedly educational or whatever channel, it's just nonsense on the internet. I know it's a controversial thesis, but I think the medium itself, it's made for, parodies, for fun, and trying to get serious on the internet. I observe new YouTube channels being created right now in Poland, with the advertising as serious, inviting serious guests, experts who will discuss the current matters 24/7, in the morning, in the evening, in the middle of the day. It's like, what the hell, it's not even worth it. If you have something serious to say, write a book, but don't go on the YouTube live whatever feed and don't try to pretend to be a serious channel, because being on YouTube itself, full of these fools playing computer games and doing pranks.
No, there are still people like us, old school, old internet, and I'm subscribed to a couple of philosophers. One, what is the name for a political scientist, or what is the name?
Political scientist,
yeah. And some,
but do you actually get? I mean, isn't that ridiculous? You're a political scientist and you're on the internet. I mean, you have a YouTube channel. It's kind of.
It was such an epiphany for me. What this man is doing, the man I'm subscribed to. He is trying. He understands that.
Who is it, by the way?
You don't know
Timothy
him.
Snyder?
No, it's a Ukrainian guy.
All right.
Timothy Snyder is a historian, not a
Okay,
political scientist. And of course, I'm subscribed to Timothy Snyder.
All right.
I've watched his a series of lectures on Ukrainian history in Yale. So there is this idea that, okay, all politicians are just greedy assholes. And no matter who you vote for, you only can hope that he's not going to steal, he's going to steal less than his predecessor. That's the general idea of politics people, usual, ordinary people have today. And I think this is even beneficial for politicians, because then it's maybe easier to manipulate people. And people usually have this, again, at least in Ukraine, I don't know, maybe in other, well-developed democracies, but people think that there's no way you can influence on anything, because you are just this small person, and your one vote doesn't mean anything, first of all. Secondly, they vote for, whoever they find more charismatic, or whoever, if you are over 60, whoever will bring you some whatever food. I don't know if it happens in Poland or in France, but before elections, some people would, it's very stupid and very Soviet-like, but they would go from door to door and bring them, these old retired people. We have this buckwheat, like it's already a meme. You vote for buckwheat.
Yeah, I mean, we have this phrase "kiełbasa wyborcza," which means election
sausage,
or election sausage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know the etymology of that. Whether there was real sausage being distributed, probably yes. But now it's just promises, and they are crazy promises. The closer we get to the election day,
the pension will. But this and again, people always kind of separate. Okay, we are people, and this is our government, and government is so corrupt. But we are just people. But they don't understand that every nation, whoever said this, I think Churchill probably, deserves the government they have, because the government is the people.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that corruption is not only, bribery. It's in it's your mindset, it's your mentality. This is how you live. They don't really realize that when they pay to the doctor, like this, sweetener or something, to teachers, to university professors, and not even because it's actually bribery, but many other things. It's corruption is in you, and you have to start from you. And you have to, the people you elect, you can and you actually must hold them accountable. And you need to exercise your, I don't know, rights, your power as a citizen. It's very difficult to do. It's much easier just to, whatever, they are all liars. They are all, thieves. And what he does, oh, shit, alarm. Okay. And what he does is he's trying to go to the level of an ordinary person. And he has these live streams when people just ask him questions about, what's going on? Why did he say that? What is happening? And he talks to people, in very simple language, like in layman terms. And it's nice when he's a very smart person, and he's a political scientist after all, but he's talking to people. So and he calls it not education.
But this is
another word, enlightenment.
But this is entertainment after all.
No, this is not entertainment. This is not entertainment. Because of course you listen to a smart person, but at the end of the day, he wants you to have an opinion, and only then. It doesn't have to be the same as his opinion, but you need to provide, arguments. Why do you think like this? And he gives many examples how this works. And I hope that it gets people thinking about something, not just saying, whatever, they all give me a list of who can you call, a liar? What did he do? Or it can be a long conversation, but he calls it not education, but there is a different word. I think you have it also in Poland. What is this? Osvita, enlightenment. So, and this is, I think, a task of many influencers, not Instagram influencers, but if you know something, if you have this knowledge, belief, it's your duty maybe to enlighten people, because after all, you want to live, you want to build this, mature adult society that will elect people and will hold them accountable. This is how you build.
But it used to be the task of books, right? And now it's the task of
yes, it used to be the task
TikTokers.
of books, last century. But now it's media,
or newspapers
internet.
in the meantime, right? But now everything, I think everything, the internet is turning everything into a comedy. I mean, into a parody or something like that. It's very easy to take someone lightly, on the internet, even if they have a really sad face, straight face, and they are talking about so-called serious stuff. Everything is ridiculous on the internet. Sorry to say
Not
that.
on my internet. I don't know, because you see, you.
Yeah, maybe we are visiting, different places, of course, but to me, it's kind of funny to see serious people on YouTube channels, even though I appreciate the fact that, okay, YouTube is just like TV, or it's even better than TV right now, because TV is full of ads.
Because of the medium, yes.
YouTube too,
remember this book, Entertain Yourself to Death, yeah? He explores different mediums and how they affect.
Of course, and the medium is the message. It's not really what you're talking about. It's
but
the
you
medium,
can see beyond the medium and see personality.
All right, fine, Masha. I think we have drifted away from the original question, but how about leaving this conversation to our listeners? And maybe you've got an idea of why digital entertainment is honestly more attractive than reading texts. It also doesn't matter where you're reading it, but generally digital entertainment screens are more attractive than books. And how about going to round two? Because I'm really curious of what you have for me, because you mentioned that you want to save something for later. Remember in the intro?
I've already actually
you touched
slowly upon this. Yeah. Let's leave it for the next time, because we only have 20 minutes. So this digital entertainment, well, the first thing that comes to mind, when you have a paper book, it's sitting on your desk staring at you. And you kind of, I have to go back to reading this book. But a phone, it's something in your phone. There's so many things, and your phone is not staring at you like this. I mean, it is, but it can always offer you something where you don't have to really engage with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good point. I mean, the engagement level is, I guess, much more shallower when it comes to a smartphone, right? Or any kind of electronic.
Even zero. Because when I read the news,
it's not so easy, Masha, and again, new concepts come up to mind. But if you think about playing a computer game, would you say that the engagement is zero? No, it's not. I mean, you may be totally engaged in a computer game, but this is a different sort of engagement than.
But we were talking about reading, because this is very different. Playing computer game, it's a very different thing. It's not reading. You asked me about reading. But did you include in reading watching videos?
Is this reading?
Listening?
Is watching actually reading?
Listening? No.
Listening. Yeah, I mean, no, the point is that, I read here and there, that reading is a remedy to all our ailments, the concentration span, lots of things, of course, developing your language and also the ability to think logically, to connect the dots and whatnot, creativity, everything. Reading is supposedly a solution to everything.
I think let's get this clear. You talk about digital entertainment or reading stuff, because if you remember this,
about digital entertainment, I guess, but it includes reading. I mean, in a way, I mean, what is Instagram? No. You sometimes read something on Instagram from time to time. You read something, or a comment, or yeah.
remember this? I keep forgetting her name. This reader come home.
Yeah, Marianne Wolf.
Wolf.
Great book. Yeah.
She said in actually one of the episodes of the Ezra Klein show, she was on the show, and she said that human brain was not meant for reading. We taught ourselves, we came up with these symbols, put them into words, sentences. We taught ourselves how to read, and reading is a much more complex activity than, let's say, listening, because you have to decipher these symbols. So that's why reading is always, it requires more concentration. And if you're reading, even if you're reading something totally entertaining and maybe even meaningless, what you read online, like this, it's still, that's why people today don't read these long reads. They look at your post, and if it seems too lengthy, they will not engage with it even. But watching a video is a very different thing. I mean, you can be very, very passive.
Well, it's the same. I think the same, reading a book and watching a video, like reading the Lord of the Rings versus watching it.
So we can. I think you're talking about reading versus other forms of content.
Maybe yes. Yeah. At the end of the day, you're right. You're right. Other forms of consuming content, because reading is, yeah. And it definitely has to do something with concentration, right? Because if you've got a text without illustrations, just plain text, well, you have to follow each line, and you keep reading, and the meaning somehow appears from in between these lines, right? It
these
materializes.
tunnels, you follow these empty tunnels. The tunnels are already empty. The meaning is gone, but they were built by the writer. Remember, I told you this. Thing.
And
it can happen to you with films as well. If the film is made like this, where you have to think, you're showing, something, then something, then something, and you have to puzzle it all together.
Yeah, but still, your concentration is different. Yeah, your concentration level is different, and definitely with with the clicks and taps, it's very interesting.
That's why reading is losing, of course.
Yeah, it's losing, and it's a pity because it's a great activity, for the brain, for our development in general. But there's no way a book can win unless, I don't know, actually, unless you go against the grain. I don't know, I don't know, there's no electricity, maybe.
No, but again, I have an example. I don't know, I'm using my son a lot. Am I destroying his personal life? What do you think?
Maybe, one day he will sue you. You
no
talked
matter what
about
you
me
do,
all
your
the
child
time.
will always have something to talk about with his therapist. So he got he's really into this guy. He's Dutch, I think. His name is Wim Hof. He's called Snowman or something like this. He's teaching people how to. He has some breathing exercises, and he teaches you how to, through these breathing exercises, heal yourself. And then he's done crazy things, like he can walk in -20 in shorts or something, and he thinks that exposing yourself to low temperatures, it's also good for your body. It's a very he has a theory behind it, and he says that there is science behind it. So he got really into this guy. He watched a lot of videos, and he's not so good at English, to watch it all in English. So he has to find channels which translate his original videos. And then he said, he probably has watched everything that there is out there. And he says he has a book. I'd like to read this book. Oh my God. I immediately, it was 2 seconds. I ordered this book, and I was like, oh, thank God, thank God. And it took him quite a long time. He read this book very, very carefully.
In English?
No.
Or in Dutch?
No.
All right.
In Chinese. Of course, in his language.
All right, it was translated.
It's not about learning English. Of course, he's doing well at school, but it's not his English is not good enough to read something like this. But I mean that he wanted to read a book.
Yeah.
And he spent some time, because I think he read it very, very slowly. I know he reads quite fast, but so what I'm trying to say that he didn't find what he had enough, and he thought that in the book, so maybe the same line of thinking that if you're serious, go write a book, He thought that he would find a lot more in this book. He wanted to read about his maybe personal life and how he got here. So there's hope.
Yeah, so he sort of jumped out of the bobsleigh, and and searched for this is also what they were talking about on Ezra Klein, that you should basically check different sources, different places, read about your favorite artist, maybe buy the book, see what they recommend, get to know them, and so on. All right, great. Anyway, the power of the screen is tremendous, tremendous, and
yes.
I think it's I think one of the major challenges, for many parents right now. Not yet for me, but I think it's coming, and to instill this, love of reading and of text. It's going to be harder and harder, I guess. I'm not so sure how to go about it, how to do it.
Don't ask me, I failed,
Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting, And even if we believe in modeling, so you read books at home, so children see that, and they sooner or later they are going to read books too. But I don't know if it works like that, With the power of the screen of the digital entertainment, it's very hard. And once again, I'll repeat the general message, that I think you may have missed, is that knowing that the medium is the message, I think that books are much healthier than whatever entertainment, even if entertainment or not, because Masha, you say that there's a lot of quality programs online, educational stuff, and so on and so forth. But I think that no matter what you find on YouTube, it's going to be kind of a parody, even if it's serious. I know, I watched countless programs about the war in Ukraine once it started, and some serious analysis, some kind of, debates of, where it's going and so on. And now when I look at this from the perspective of some time, I see that these guys, they just grab the likes, they grab the views, they're happy recording, another set of, pseudo expert discussions. Yeah.
Keep searching. You'll find it.
All right. So the internet is not yet lost.
No. No.
All right.
This digital, it's very, very, it's fast. The book is slow. And, I find myself, because I, consume a lot of digital content. And now, for example, I sat down and tried to read the book, which is on my huge list. And, I have to force myself to slow down, because I understand that, okay, it's taking, it's the setup of the story, I'm getting introduced to characters, that the writer, and I like how this author, is showing me these characters, not simply telling, because she could have opted for 2 paragraphs describing each person. There are 4 main characters in this book, but instead she's taking 3 or 4 chapters so that I can truly see them, not just a description of what kind of person he is and what he looks like and what he likes. And I understand that I need to slow down, and there's a purpose for this. She's doing it for a purpose so that I really, get to know them better and sympathize with them. So you have to slow yourself down, intentionally. Have to be aware. So yeah, this is something we rarely do in.
Yeah, we rarely do. But I don't know if YouTube, honestly, coming back to YouTube, YouTube is a place to slow down. I mean, how do you slow down on YouTube? I mean, you have to keep posting stuff, and ask for likes and so on. Otherwise, the algos will forget about you. You will be, nowhere to be found. It's quite
there
tricky.
are still, I mean, the videos I watch on YouTube, they are 1 hour and a half, 2 hours long.
Are they popular?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find them, and you're so happy that you found them.
But I believe that they are mostly non-commercial in the sense that that it's not a channel where they monetize the content and so on. Yeah. But these are rare gems, and they are being omitted by the algos.
Yes, so you have to.
So it's something that how
harder.
do you find it? Even it's quite hard. You have to use this old school way of surfing.
Yeah, like in this cartoon, Wall-E. They had really comfortable life, and now they had to lift their asses. And at the end, I remember this one. This is called agriculture. You can grow anything: tomatoes, pizza. Yeah, you can do the work. You have to do the work.
So, as a farewell, what's our message to our listeners?
Read our newsletter.
Read our newsletter. That's the whole conversation was about it.
It was you plotted all this, yeah?
Yeah, but
oh my God.
This is what comes to your mind after this conversation. But okay, so there is this, hope that there is quality content. It's hard to find because it's being omitted by the algos, who basically, deliver stuff that is already popular.
I would say these people are not like I think we've talked about it. They're not giving people what they want. They're not studying, their needs and they're being authentic. They talk about something they really care about, and they just can hope, just like we, that somebody will find them and it will resonate with what they are talking about. It will resonate with these people. That's all you can do.
Yes, and the modern internet is less and less friendly towards that kind of content, unfortunately, right? But
yeah, because they know the algorithms know what people like, and if you want to sell, you will produce more of the stuff that people like, not what necessarily you like.
Yeah, it's also a thought from the book I read, Kids Run the Show, that when YouTubers make money, YouTube is also making money.
Yeah,
even bigger money.
Of course.
So this is like self-propelling machine, right? And the algos are going to promote stuff that monetizes, because if it monetizes, YouTube is also getting a cut of it.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Thanks so much, Masha, for this conversation. Fantastic conversation with you, even though we didn't make it to round 2. I wanted at one point, but you said
let's start round 2 next time.
All right, great. So we're going to start from round 2 exactly next time. Yeah. Fine. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. It's on our website, tulpodcast.com. Don't forget also about other ways to get in touch with us, either via email or via social media, of course. We are on Twitter.
Or leave us a message if there was something you disagreed with, or if you have,
don't forget about Spotify. You can also interact in Spotify.
Anything. Leave us a message.
Great.
So this was another episode of the. Was it thinking?
Was it? It was thinking.
Well, of thinking, of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.